all over the world, and not just in Africa. It is naive to expect your government to tell you the truth all the time. It doesn't work like that. Because the naked truth is that even in the most developed democracies, governments take the population as their little children. You can't tell the children everything. They will not be able to take it. They're not mature enough. Indeed, that is a judgment call every parent makes every day. And while it is true that there are some instances, just very few instances, where if you tell the masses the truth, you will cause panic. And this is probably not what you're looking for. It'll make the situation worse. However, in most instances, the truth would have set some people free. Let me just leave it at that. Anyway, let's go into these 9 instances in our part of the world where the government deceived the masses and got caught. I have deliberately chosen the most mind-boggling instances. So stay with me until the end of this video and enjoy. On the afternoon of July 5th, 1969, it was a Saturday, one of the founding fathers of the nation called Kenya and a senior cabinet minister, Mboya, was assassinated in broad daylight on the streets of Nairobi. Now I know you're itching for the latest ones, but be patient with me. I'll come to those shortly. At that time, the young nation Kenya was barely 6 years old. But even if you went back into colonial times, this was unprecedented. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Now, the problem with executing a crime on a crowded street is that you have too many witnesses. And even if you're a government, there is no way you can control that kind of scenario. There is always the high probability that somebody somewhere saw everything and was wise enough to stay mum, keep their mouths shut until the appropriate time. And that is precisely what happened in this case. Over 30 years later, an eyewitness, who had stayed with this secret all those decades, finally came forward. It described in great detail how there were actually 2 assassins on the spot. One, a tall man, and 2, a shorter man. I don't have so much time to go into great detail here. You can catch my amazing documentary series, playlist of videos, titled Mboya, It Was More Than an Assassination. And I've put a link here in the description area of this video below on YouTube. But in a nutshell, this particular eyewitness report rubbished what we had been told by the government, that the assassin was working alone. And it confirmed that in fact, this was an elaborate plot with the government written all over it. Number 2, the man charged for this crime, a man called Nahashon Njenga, who was in fact a very close friend of Mboya, was charged for the crime, convicted, and the government told us that he was hanged. But In the mid-70s, an Asian couple from Kenya visiting Ethiopia saw Nahashon Njenga. And they had compelling reasons that suggested that the man they saw in a foreign African country was indeed Nahashon Njenga. And they were naive. They came forward with this information. Over the years, I have never managed to find out what ultimately happened to this Asian couple. My guess is that had this couple known that the man actually convicted for the crime was framed, he didn't do it. Had they known this, maybe they would have done the wise thing of keeping quiet. Number 3 is a very current example. So prepare yourselves. Number 3, a man whom we are told did not like Kenyans disappeared, vanished from public sight. Now, in my view, even if it is true that this man did not like Kenyans, it is irrelevant because Kenyans had no say in his election into office. Of course, I'm talking about the president of neighboring Tanzania, former president, JPM, the late John Pombe Magufuli. And when he had not been seen in public for over 2 weeks, Tanzanian government officials rubbished rumors that the Tanzanian president was actually in a Nairobi hospital. He was critically ill and admitted to the Nairobi hospital. The Tanzanian government even arrested some Tanzanians over trying to spread what they said was a rumor, a blatant lie. To spice up things, a Tanzanian government official, while giving a speech, told his audience that actually he had seen President Magufuli. He had spoken with him, just a few hours earlier. But of course, those who can read body language could tell that he was not telling the truth. I can now confirm, based on multiple credible sources, that the Tanzanian president was actually briefly at a Nairobi hospital. Now, of course, you can catch the inside story of that, which is still highly sensitive, even now, in my latest weekly intelligence briefings. Details on your screens right now and repeated in the description area below on this video on YouTube. Number 4, the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Kibaki, when he became president, avoided press conferences like the plague. No exclusive interviews, no fielding questions from journalists, etc., etc. In fact, it was during his presidency that a brand new government position was created, that of government spokesperson. But one day, President Kibaki called a press conference. And it is a press conference that will not be easily forgotten. Because that press conference was not about any government policy. No. Neither was it a progress report from the president or a state of the nation press conference. No. It was about his personal family matters. Now, polygamy is accepted in Kenya. And those who knew the president well knew that indeed he had two wives. His first wife, Lucy Kibaki, and then what I would call his political wife. Yeah, she assisted him with many campaigns throughout his political career. Yeah, for the parliamentary seat in Othaya, he held for decades. But in this press conference, he introduced his first wife as the only wife he had. And during that press conference, his wife, his one and only wife, allegedly, even accused sections of the press, for misreporting, for giving the public false information. You know, when a president calls a press conference, that is not an MCA calling a press conference. It is not even a member of parliament calling a press conference. It is the government speaking. And this whole shenanigan was the worst idea in history, because the government was caught trying to deceive the public on the spot. People knew it was a lie. The head of government was telling lies on live television. Number 5 is probably the most spectacular of them all. In March 1975, the government of Kenya told the people that the Nyandarua North legislator, Josiah Mwangi Kariuki, was in fact in Zambia. The government told us it had confirmed JM was in Zambia. The family, of course, had previously reported him missing for a number of days. And the then leader of government business in parliament, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, who was also the vice president, stood up in parliament to answer a question. And of course he intended to emphasize this government lie. And then drama. Suddenly, in parliament, from the public gallery, there were loud screams of women. All the legislators turned their eyes away from Moi to the public gallery. And one of JM's wives screamed, "Stop telling Kenyans lies. JM is dead. He is at the city mortuary." And a group of legislators hurriedly left for the mortuary. And when they arrived there, they found some people. Now, this would have been hilarious if this was not such a grave matter. They found some people struggling with a body, trying to sneak it out of a window. And the body was identified as that of JM Kariuki. Talk about somebody being caught red-handed. Talk about a government being caught telling lies. Interestingly, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, when he heard these screams, turned pale. And it is said right then in Parliament, even before legislators confirmed what James' wife had told the House from the public gallery, Moi said, if this is indeed true, Kenya is finished. Number 6. In the 80s, when Kenya was starved of foreign aid and assistance, which had been frozen over human rights allegations against President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, a Kenyan businessman called Kamlesh Patni burst into national limelight. To cut a long story short, this culminated in what we know today as the Goldenberg scam. And to this day, the government wants us to believe the lie that this was the story of a crooked businessman trying to claim money that was not due to him from the government through the export compensation plan, which gave money to people who exported anything from Kenya as an incentive to bring in foreign currency into the country, into our foreign currency starved coffers, national coffers, at the time. Indeed, this is one scam in our country called Kenya, which still confuses a lot of people because there are too many unanswered questions. Top on the list is the puzzle of how a businessman would have corrupted so many powerful people in government in one swipe, including the then head of intelligence, a man called Kanyotu, James Kanyotu, who has since passed on. Actually, the government took everybody for a ride because Goldenberg, simply put, was the government buying foreign currency from black markets. You see, in those days, Moi had been boxed in. Things were very bad for the country, cash-wise. I am not going to make any excuses for anybody, but we all know that desperate times usually produces desperate measures. And this lie we were being told was discovered by many Kenyans. It was a government scheme all along. Kamlesh Patni was just the facilitator. Number 7, and this is a recent one, the 2017 general elections. And to be more specific, the 2017 presidential race. The government fooled everybody, including yours truly. And they fooled all of us that the Jubilee Party then was extremely popular countrywide, that they had the numbers. But on voting day in August 2017, very many fishy things went down, including the press being shut out, of counting halls where votes were being counted. This lie was initially exposed by the Supreme Court when they annulled, throughout President Uhuru Kenyatta's initial win. And the lie that Jubilee won those elections was further exposed when we saw the number of people who celebrated when the president's victory was overturned by Chief Justice David Maraga and company. And the Jubilee government went on to do many things which a popular political outfit has no need to do. Like the mysterious story where Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu's official vehicle was sprayed with bullets. Luckily, she was not in the vehicle when this happened. It was just the driver. Sometimes governments lie, and when it is exposed, it changes everything. And this is a perfect example of that. Because had it not been for the handshake, I don't know where Kenyans would be today. Number 8, the very first Kenyan African to qualify as a lawyer, Argwings-Kodhek, is said to have met with a road accident, on the road which today is named after him. The Jomo Kenyatta government at the time assured us that it was a road accident. But when the wife rushed to the police station, she never saw the vehicle allegedly involved in this road accident. Indeed, nobody ever saw that vehicle in which this prominent, brilliant lawyer is said to have lost his life in some road accident. But the official story, a lie for decades, was that Argwings-Kodhek passed on as a result of a road accident. Over 30 years later, in fact, it was one of the first things Kibaki did when he became president. He authorized the release of information on the death of this prominent Kenyan. The information made available to the public for the very first time and proving this lie the government had kept for decades, said the following: that the lawyer died as a result of gunshot wounds from a police-issued rifle. Period. In my landmark documentary, Mboya, It Was More Than an Assassination, you can find a link in the description area of this video on YouTube, I reveal that all this was actually part of a larger plot, a very elaborate intelligence operation, probably one of the largest the region has ever seen. And it was to eliminate all present and future threats to the presidency of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Please make sure you catch that series. It's actually a playlist. Very fascinating stuff. Number 9. In the early hours of 1982, August 1st, Kenyans woke up to the shock of their lives. The only radio station in those days, government-owned VOK, it was called in those days, were announcing that the government of President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi had been overthrown. But a faction of the armed forces, stormed VOK. There were many casualties. And at the end of the day, a very junior member of the then Kenya Air Force, a senior private Ochuka, emerged as the main man, the brains behind that attempted coup. Anybody who understands how hierarchy and ranks works in our armed forces, and indeed in any uniformed service, will tell you immediately that that is a very long shot, extremely long. And to this day, many decades later, we have never been told who were the main brains and instigators of that bloody attempted coup. The government told us a lot of lies about what really happened in 1982, and the government was caught out. However, to this day, we still do not know the details of the truth. I appeal to former Attorney General AG Charles Mugane Njonjo, who is still alive and very healthy, and around 100 years old. I believe he owes Kenyans the truth of what really happened in 1982. There you are. 9 mind-boggling lies the government told the people that were discovered, that were exposed. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a like and kindly subscribe to be able to see more videos like this one. Until next time, this is Kshs. Kumekucha.